This is episode 10. Are you the protectors of this world? I'm Mark Denny. I love movies and I'm all about the movie going experience. So much so I created a show called The Weekly Reference just so I had a place to geek out for a little bit. If you found this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., I really appreciate you stopping by to check this out. On this week's episode, we got a lot of trailers to talk about in Mark's Top 5, including the new Avatar Fire and Ash trailer and the trailer for One Battle After Another. And the main topic for this week is all about Fantastic Four. That's right. I got to see the Fantastic Four First Steps movie, and I want to talk about it. So let's get into it. So Mark's Top 5 this week is a bit trailer heavy. This is covering July 21st through the 25th, up into this recording, of course. We have a new trailer for Good Fortune. This is that Aziz Ansari movie with Seth Rogen, Keanu Reeves, where Keanu is this kind of discount angel that comes down and it's supposed to teach Aziz a lesson in terms of being wealthy or poor or whatever, but it turns out that wealth solved most of his issues. And so it looks like a good bit of fun. This one comes out October 17th, 2025. I'm a sucker for these type of stories. The grass isn't always greener on the other side type of story. And I love comedies, and I think Keanu is going to rock this role as this angel who takes up smoking and all this stuff. And Seth Rogen's he's always a guaranteed laugh. So next, Predator Badlands. This trailer is so awesome. This comes out November 7th. And November 7th is looking pretty stacked because we got The Running Man and we got Predator Badlands. And it's like, I don't know which one I want to go see first. But this movie, though, looks awesome. I love the way it looks, how it feels, this darkness to it. It's this obviously young predator that is trying to, find the toughest creatures to fight against. And you got Elle Fanning in there as this robot. I guess it's from Alien lore. And I'm sorry, I haven't seen Alien or Aliens. I know I'm going to, I promise, but that's what I understand. It looks awesome. I love Prey. That it's a Predator movie that came out. It was released on Hulu. I know it had like a short theatrical run, but I saw it on Hulu with Amber Midthunder, also directed by David Thatchenberg. Is that how you say his last name? I might be saying it wrong, but he's also directing this one. And there's that other Predator movie that came out on Hulu that I don't remember the title of it, but I know it's like an animated one. I've been meaning to check it out. I just haven't got to it, but a lot of people praised it. But this trailer for Predator Badlands looks awesome, man. It looks cool AF. And after seeing Prey, I'm already sold on this. Like, I know it's not a direct sequel. It looks like it takes place in a more either an alternate timeline or some type of futuristic thing. But I'm still really interested in it. It looks gory. It looks like it's filled with action. It looks like even the Predator itself is going to have some really good emotional moments, despite the, you know what I mean? Like, even that moment in the trailer where he's speaking in his alien tongue. I don't know what his language is called, but it's like, whoa, all right, that looks really cool. It looks solid. The next trailer, One Battle After Another. This film comes out September 26, 2025. This is the trailer that you need to sell me on. This is that new Leonardo DiCaprio movie directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. It's got Benicio del Toro in there. And the first teaser, I was like, okay, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. I'm not a PTA guy. Like, I have a lot of his movies on my watch list. If you follow me on Letterboxd, that Marc MV Ref, you'll see I probably have at least 3 or 4 of his movies sitting in my watch list that I haven't checked out yet, and I will. So I'm not familiar with his work per se. I just have glimpses and clips and stuff like that. So when I saw this, I was just I'm not basing it on the director's track record, right? I'm just looking at this as a vehicle starring Leonardo DiCaprio, and for me, this trailer really sold me on it. It feels like a little bit of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that feel, that similar vibe. Obviously, this is, looks like it's dealing with some type of revolution that they're trying to set up. There's some drama. He's obviously protecting his young daughter from the mistakes that he and her mother have made. And so, like, I'm really interested in this movie. This trailer is what sold me. You got that Beyonce Freedom song going. You got Kendrick Lamar because he's featured on that song coming on, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed how the trailer looked. It looked like there's going to be some comedic moments. I mean, Benicio del Toro referencing Tom Cruise. I was like, yes. What did he say? Show no fear, like Tom Cruise or something like that. And then Leo jumps out of the car. But it looked like a cool trailer. I really, that's the one that sold me on the movie. So I don't know. We have to wait and see. Then Avatar, Fire and Ash. So this trailer is not out online. I don't know if any of you know. This was released exclusively to as like a package deal with the Fantastic Four First Steps, and I got to see that the other day. Excuse me. And they played it just like they did the Odyssey in front of Jurassic World Rebirth. Like they played their trailers. And my theater is nice about trailers. It's like 4, maybe 5, but usually like 4 trailers, and then they go on with the movie. The lights go out, and then they say, and then a green band shows up again. And you're like, what? And you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. I heard that they're gonna show Avatar, and I'm not a huge fan of Avatar. I'm just not. I should probably back it up a little bit. Avatar is the first Blu-ray I've ever owned. I worked at Target. I remember when it dropped. I remember hearing all about it, and I picked it up one random Friday, brought it home, and we watched it. And I tell you what, the first time watching Avatar, I was like, whoa. But then my brother got a hold of it and ruined it, because every single day I would come home, it was on. Every day, Avatar. He rewatched that movie so much to the point where it's just like seared in the back of my brain, and it no longer has that that wow anymore to me. It's like I'm kind of over it. But I also respect the Avatar films because of how much James Cameron has dedicated to his time to this franchise, and how much he's trying to push the technology forward, and how much he's trying to change the game in terms of how to tell stories through a digital frame rate, or the different frame rates, I should say, and different aesthetics, and finding new approaches that we can continue in other avenues of storytelling, and spending the years that you need to make this thing look as realistic, despite the fact that it's using CGI and a lot of visual storytelling. And I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. It really is. So I champion that stuff. The Way of Water, I never had an urge to see it. Then some people that I do respect saw it and didn't tell me it was, they weren't sold on it. But then there's a lot of people that I listened to critic wise that were all about that movie. That was on the top of their list at the end of the year. So I don't know. I haven't seen it, but this trailer, I thought it looked really cool though. It looked really cool. I mean, you're just thrown back into that world, and you're kind of like, well, if you didn't see the second one, I don't know how much of that they have in this trailer. You know what I mean? Like in terms of story, like I don't know what happens in the second movie, so I don't know how everyone is. So when I see this trailer, it just looks like, okay, we're being dropped into this world. And it looked cool. I mean, the thing that I loved the most about it was how they timed the footage with the music. You know, the Avatar music, it's become synonymous with that film. So it's like, you know, you hear it and it's like, okay, I got the vibe. I like the villain seems kind of scary, and Sully and everybody, like they look fantastic. Like the technology, obviously. It was incredible in 2009 when the first one came out, and now all these years later, it's like, and more kudos to them for actually making the release date. I know 4 and 5 got pushed back, but like Avatar 2 was like the longest wait ever. Like I remember like when they announced it and they kept pushing it back. So at least this one's actually going to make its December 19th, 2025 release date. And then lastly, Happy Gilmore 2 is out on Netflix. Now, I didn't know if I was going to be excited about this movie or not. I mean, it's a legacy sequel. I love Happy Gilmore, the original. I think it's one of those movies that I don't like rewatch too often, but I think I rewatched it enough as a kid that like I put it on today while I was working, and just having it in the background, I could just see everything. Like I remembered everything in that movie. And so it's one of those movies to me, like the first one, that you could just put on and you can just memorize it, how it looks, because you're just so familiar with it. And the first one's such a fun movie. It really is. So I'm excited for Happy Gilmore 2. I haven't seen any reviews up until this morning. I haven't seen anything. I was like, oh gosh, I haven't even checked Rotten Tomatoes or anything like that because this week's all about Fantastic Four, so I wasn't sure how well it was gonna do. And of course, having Eminem in there, I talked about last week, like that to me, it raises my excitement level because I want to see that cameo. Um, and which people are trying to spoil online. You know, those shady fan sites are just trying to put, oh, here's all his scenes. Watch this reel. And no, I want to watch it within the movie, man. I don't need to see this. But I so if you're interested in Happy Gilmore 2, it is out. Happy Gilmore is available till the end of the month. If you want to watch them back to back. But the thing that I saw like midday was Sean Chandler's. I didn't watch it, but it just says yikes, and I got really like kind of bummed about it because I was hoping that it would be a good one, at least a return to form of some sort, at least have moments of comedic elements and feel like the first Happy Gilmore at the very least. Hollywood's been doing some solid jobs with these legacy sequels. I mean, Netflix just had Beverly Hills Cop 4. Was it last summer? That to me, I thought that was a really well done legacy sequel. And of course, nothing's going to beat Top Gun Maverick, but that was a really great legacy sequel. So I was kind of hoping for the best for Happy Gilmore, but now my expectations have lowered just a little bit just based on Sean Chandler saying yikes. But I got to give it a chance, and I got to go through some people's reviews to see what they're saying about it. But yeah, that's out there. So that's the Mark's Top 5 this week. Let's talk about Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four First Steps is here, starring Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, Eben Moss-Bachrach, directed by Matt Shackman. And let's just not bury the lead. Is it worth the 20? It was for me, man. It was worth the 20. I had such a good time watching this movie. I had a smile on my face pretty much the entire time. It in that respect, it reminded me of Superman. I feel like Superman was a little more fun, but Fantastic Four still was like kind of awe. Like it brought back a sense of wonder. Like, wow, this is really cool. It's got this cool sci-fi, futuristic, retro 60s, just that mix with comic books. And it's just like this really good mix. And it kind of goes back to what Marvel used to do best, was take a genre and pump a comic book in there where there was a spy thriller or I'm blanking, but like you take the Winter Soldier, this spy thriller that like harkens back to some Robert Redford movies back in the day, and it's like still modernize it with Captain America, and it's like this perfect blend of like, wow, the espionage mixed with the military aspects and mixed with the shield being Hydra. Like that is such a cool way to tell that story, and that's how I felt with Fantastic Four, is that the sci-fi elements were so greatly utilized, and the fact that it feels a bit like Interstellar. Or I guess that's the best reference point, or 2001: A Space Odyssey. It has those vibes to it that I think are really utilized very well with this movie. And this movie is a standalone thing. It almost feels like, listen, you have no homework to worry about. This is a movie you just go in. You want to see Fantastic Four, just go in. You don't need any prior knowledge of the team. You don't need any prior knowledge of the MCU. You're just opening this book. Like you're just showing up 4 years after they already have their powers and going into it. And then I thought it was interesting that Superman starts 3 years after he introduced himself to the world, and this one starts 4 years after they introduced themselves, or at least since they came back with their powers. And so I thought that was kind of a cool coincidence. Anyways, but like it's so cool. The cast. I know people have been like highlighting certain cast members, but I just felt like, honestly, it's they all rise the tide. Like their dynamic is what works about this movie. It's not like anyone stands out beyond the rest, right? Like a Robert Downey Jr. Like it feels like they cast so well that their dynamic just works so well. It feels like they're family. It feels like they're friends, or they've been a part of each other's lives for as long as they have. and it feels meaningful. So I thought that was really great. It reminded me of the beginning of Age of Ultron, right? Like now that we had the years and all that stuff, and then we see the Avengers at partying it up, and it's like this cool, like I could take a whole movie of this, and that's kind of how I felt with this. Like you cast so brilliantly that it doesn't matter about the oncoming threat. It's like I love the dynamic between Johnny and the Thing and or Ben Grimm, and then of course I love the relationship between Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal. I thought that they made that really work really well. An interesting dynamic I didn't expect them to do, but it makes them so much more interesting now. The team Fantastic Four, because it feels like they have these powers, but there's a bit of like a safety net. And I'm not gonna spoil it, but like it feels like Reed has this certain sense, like he's such a scientific mind and he's so brilliant and he's constantly worried about everything. Like you can see it in his face that he's just constantly thinking and thinking. And you feel that when it comes to his team or to his family, I should say, their powers and there's a little bit of a resistance. There's a little bit of a fear to push beyond their limits, and I feel like that's going to be the fun exploration of these characters in future outings, because it's going to be like, well, how far can they push their limits now? Because that's obvious. I feel like once the gloves come off, once the little safety, once the training rules come off, it could be really interesting, I think, and things are going to be really greatly explored after that. I don't know. I just thought that was a really nice touch, because then that gives them a more meaningful growth and expansion, rather than here's a full blown like with Captain Marvel. Where do you go with Captain Marvel after you establish that she's like the strongest person in the universe? Like when she shows up in Endgame, it's fun and all, but like. Once you set them up as the most powerful person, you got to start trying to figure out how to make them interesting. And I think Fantastic Four, as powerful as each character is, there's limitations set to them. So it makes it so much more interesting. It makes the storytelling more dynamic, and makes it more exciting to see them show up in other things. So that was like my favorite piece. The story was interesting. It went in a direction that I didn't expect for it to go in. Galactus was so cool. It reminded me of Godzilla. He was so cool. And then Silver Surfer, I thought she was great. I mean, that moment, you've seen the speech in the trailer, I Herald, and that moment is so awesome. She is awesome. The whole movie looks awesome. I just keep saying awesome. I should say the movie is fantastic. No, but the couple standouts is like CGI stuff. Like, and it's not even Ben Grimm. Like Ben Grimm's a CGI character throughout the whole movie. There's moments where they turn the camera on him and he looks great, but something's off with the background. You can tell, like, this is a green screen. So there's certain moments like that where the CGI or the visual effects isn't hitting 100%. I know people have been complaining about the baby. Sometimes the baby, has to be CGI. But it's not as, like, gross as the Flash when they have the CGI babies. So I don't know. So just little things like that, okay. But I like the story. It was very self-contained. It's all about the Fantastic Four. You don't need to worry about doing your homework. There is a mid and post-credit scene. The mid is the most important one. The post is just a fun little tag, reminiscent to a tag at the end of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, involving Miguel O'Hara. If you know what I'm talking about. That's kind of the vibe you're going to end up getting with this post-credit scene. But the mid is the one you want to see. And yeah, man. So I'm sitting at a 4 out of 5 stars for this one. There's a lot to like about it, a lot to digest. It's Marvel operating at their best. And the other thing is, oh, you know what? I forgot to mention about the whole, like, the casting, the fact that they made this cast and that they obviously worked on their dynamic enough to make it like this functioning family that actually felt real and you wanted to be around them. They did the same thing with Thunderbolts. Like Thunderbolts, even though there's some of them are Disney Plus characters, that movie, when you get dropped in, you get introduced to all these characters again, and they cast that movie so well, or they teamed up that movie so well that it just works. The dynamic works, and you buy into the teamwork, right? And I feel like that's what they really nailed with this movie, and I think that's a big takeaway from this movie. The villain, like I said, Galactus is awesome. He's a great villain. But yeah, I don't know. If you're interested in Fantastic Four, if you want some sci-fi comic book stuff, you want it to look visually awesome and see practical stuff and see them kind of operate the best way that they can, bringing this Marvel's first family to the big screen, it's worth the 20, man. Check it out. That's it for this week. Like, subscribe, comment to say hi, say anything that you're excited about in Mark's top 5. And if you saw the Fantastic Four first steps, please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Until next week, we will protect you.